alarm does not blare. It is a soft, rising hum, a vibration on the bedside table that pulls me gently from the depths of sleep. It is 3:45 in the morning. The world outside is wrapped in the heavy, velvet silence of the pre-dawn hours, a time that belongs to bakers, to nurses, and to people like me. I sit up. The room is cool, the air still settling from the night. My feet find the floorboards, grounding me. There is no grogginess, no desire to hit a snooze button. My body knows this rhythm. It is conditioned to the early start, wired for the solitary efficiency of the road. I stretch, feeling the vertebrae align, a slow expansion of the chest, a roll of the shoulders. I move to the bathroom. The tiles are cold underfoot. I splash water on my face, the shock of the temperature tightening my skin, washing away the last lingering dreams. I do not rush. Rushing leads to mistakes, and in my line of work, mistakes are not an option. I brush my teeth with deliberate strokes, staring into the mirror, checking my eyes. They are clear. I am ready. Back in the bedroom, I dress in the dark, guided by habit and touch. My uniform is not a suit and tie, but it is a uniform nonetheless, chosen for durability and comfort. First, the socks, thick wool blend, reinforced at the heel and toe. I pull them up, smoothing out any wrinkles that could cause a blister 300 miles down the interstate. Next, the jeans, heavy denim, broken in over years of climbing in and out of the cab. They are stiff but yielding, a protective layer against the grease and the weather. I pull on a thermal undershirt, followed by a flannel button-down. The buttons are cold against my fingers as I fasten them, starting from the bottom and working my way up. Finally, the boots. They are waiting by the door, leather scuffed and oiled to a deep mahogany. I sit on the small bench in the hallway to put them on. The laces are thick and waxed. I thread them through the eyelets, pulling them tight with a satisfying resistance. Left boot, right boot. I tie them securely, a double knot that will hold for the next 14 hours. The weight of the boots on my feet is the final signal to my brain. I am no longer a sleeper. I am a driver. I walk to the kitchen. The house is silent, filled with the faint blue light of the microwave clock. I do not turn on the overhead lights. I prefer the shadows, the slow transition into the day. The coffee ritual comes next. It is the most critical part of the morning prep. I do not use a pod machine. I want the process. I take the bag of beans from the cabinet, the foil crinkling softly. The smell hits me as soon as I break the seal dark roast, earth, and cocoa. I pour the beans into the grinder. I press the lid down. The whir of the blades is a low, consistent drone, pulverizing the beans into a coarse sand. I prepare the basket of the coffee maker, listening to the water gurgle as it heats. While it brews, I pack my cooler. This is a game of Tetris and foresight. I open the refrigerator door, the light spilling out onto the linoleum. I pack a container of hard-boiled eggs, a bag of crisp apples, a sandwich wrapped tightly in parchment paper, and 2 bottles of water. I place a heavy ice pack on top and zip the soft-sided cooler shut. The sound of the zipper is crisp in the quiet room. The coffee finishes with a final sputtering hiss. I take my travel mug, a battered stainless steel vessel that has been with me for 100,000 miles. It is dented near the base, a scar from a drop in a parking lot in Nebraska. I pour the black liquid, watching the steam rise in a twisting column. I seal the lid. It locks with a solid click. I grab my gear bag. It contains the essentials: a heavy-duty flashlight, my logbook, a spare pair of gloves, sunglasses, and a rain poncho. I heft the bag onto my shoulder, feeling its familiar weight. I check my pockets: wallet, phone, keys. The keys to my personal truck are distinct from the keys to the rig. I separate them in my mind. I am leaving the civilian world now. I open the front door and step out into the night. The air outside is crisp, carrying the scent of dew and damp pavement. The neighborhood is asleep. There are no other cars moving, no lights in the windows. I am a ghost moving through a dormant world. I unlock my pickup truck, the mechanism clunking heavily. I slide onto the cold leather seat and turn the ignition. The engine catches immediately, a reliable purr. The drive to the yard is a meditation. I keep the radio off. I want to hear the tires on the asphalt, the wind rushing past the mirrors. The streets are wide and empty. Traffic lights cycle through their colors for no one but me, turning from green to yellow to red and back to green. I glide through the intersections, maintaining a steady pace. I pass the sleeping suburbs, the darkened strip malls, the gas stations with their fluorescent canopies glowing like beacons in a sea of black. Gradually, the scenery changes. The manicured lawns give way to chain-link fences and concrete barriers. The road widens. The signs become industrial. Warehouses loom in the darkness, vast rectangular shapes against the starry sky. I turn onto the frontage road that leads to the distribution center. The gravel crunches satisfyingly under my tires, a gritty, textured sound that signals arrival. I approach the main gate. The security guard, a man named Miller, who has worked the graveyard shift for a decade, sees my headlights and raises a hand. The gate slides open with a mechanical hum, the chain links rattling against the metal frame. I wave as I pass, a silent acknowledgement between two people who operate outside the hours of the sun. I park my pickup in the employee lot, slotting it between two other vehicles. I kill the engine. The silence rushes back in, heavier than before. I grab my gear bag and my cooler. I step out, my boots landing firmly on the gravel. The yard is a vast expanse of asphalt and concrete, illuminated by tall floodlights that cast long, sharp shadows. The air here smells different. It smells of diesel fuel, ozone, and cold steel. It is the smell of commerce, of movement. I walk toward the row of trucks. They are parked in perfect alignment, a fleet of sleeping giants. There are 20 of them, but I only have eyes for one. She is parked at the end of the row, a Peterbilt 579, painted a deep, metallic blue that looks almost black in this light. The chrome of the grille catches the reflection of the floodlights, gleaming like silver. She is massive, imposing, and beautiful. This is my office, my home, and my partner. I approach the driver's side door. I reach into my pocket and pull out the key. It is a simple piece of metal, but it holds the power to wake up 500 horses. I slide the key into the lock. It turns with a smooth, oiled precision. I depress the thumb latch and pull the heavy door open. The smell of the cab washes over me. It is a specific blend of leather conditioner, faint coffee from yesterday, and the clean, neutral scent of the interior plastics. It smells like order. I toss my gear bag onto the passenger seat and place the cooler on the floorboard. I climb up, using the grab handle, my weight supported by 3 points of contact at all times. I do not start the engine yet. First, I must wake the machine up gently. I insert the key into the ignition and turn it to the accessory position. The dashboard comes alive. A dozen gauges sweep from left to right and back again. Oil pressure, water temperature, air pressure, voltage. Digital displays flicker on, running their self-checks. A low chime sounds, a polite greeting. I verify the voltage meter. The batteries are strong. I flip the switch for the clearance lights. Outside, I know that amber marker lights have just illuminated along the roof line and the sides of the trailer, outlining the shape of the rig in the darkness. I climb back down from the cab. It is time for the pre-trip inspection. This is not a formality. It is a ritual of safety and respect. I retrieve my flashlight from the gear bag. The aluminum casing is cold in my hand. I click it on, and a beam of intense white light cuts through the pre-dawn gloom. I start at the front. I shine the light on the windshield, checking for cracks or chips. It is clean. I move to the wipers, running my thumb along the rubber blades. They are soft and pliable, ready for rain. I unlatch the hood. It tilts forward with a heavy, hydraulic sigh, revealing the heart of the beast. The engine block is massive, a complex sculpture of iron and hoses. I shine my light into the depths. I check the fluids first. I pull the oil dipstick, wiping it clean with a rag from my back pocket. I reinsert it, push it all the way home, and pull it out again. The oil is black and viscous, sitting perfectly at the full mark. I check the coolant reservoir. The pink liquid glows in the flashlight beam, visible through the translucent plastic. Power steering fluid is good. Windshield washer fluid is topped off. I move to the belts. I reach in and press my thumb against the serpentine belt. It is tight, with no more than 3/4 of an inch of play. I run the light along the belt's length, looking for frays or cracks. The rubber is smooth and solid. I check the hoses, squeezing them gently. They are firm, not spongy or brittle. There are no leaks. The engine is dry and clean. I close the hood. It locks into place with a reassuring thud. I fasten the latches on either side, feeling the tension of the rubber hooks. I move to the driver's side tire. It is a massive slab of rubber, taller than my waist. I take my tire thumper, a weighted wooden baton, and strike the tread. Thwack. The sound is sharp and resonant. If the tire were low, it would sound dull and hollow. This sound is the sound of readiness. I check the sidewalls for bulges or cuts. I check the rim for cracks or rust trails that would indicate a loose lug nut. Everything is tight. I walk down the side of the truck, the flashlight beam dancing over the fuel tanks. I check the cap, ensuring it is tight. I check the mounting straps, giving them a firm shake. The tank is secure. I reach the back of the tractor, the area where the truck connects to the trailer. This is the most critical connection. I shine the light into the gap between the frame rails. I inspect the air lines, the red, and the blue hoses that coil like springs. They are suspended freely, not touching the deck plate. I check the electrical cord, the green line that powers the trailer's lights and anti-lock braking system. It is plugged in firmly, the safety latch engaged. I duck underneath the trailer, shining the light upward at the fifth wheel. This is the heavy steel plate that the trailer rests on. I check the locking jaws. They are wrapped securely around the kingpin of the trailer. There is no daylight between the upper and lower apron. The release arm is in the locked position. I am physically coupled. The truck and the trailer are one unit. I walk the length of the trailer, my boots crunching on the asphalt. I check the landing gear. The handle is stowed in its cradle. The support legs are fully raised, clearing the ground. I reach the rear axles of the trailer. Thwack, 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 thwack. 4 tires, 4 crisp, solid reports. I check the mud flaps. They are hanging straight, untorn. I walk to the very back of the trailer. I check the rear doors. The latches are secured. The padlock is in place. I inspect the lights. The red taillights are glowing steadily. The license plate light is working. I stand there for a moment, bathed in the red glow, listening to the hum of the nearby refrigeration units on other trucks. The yard is starting to wake up. A forklift beeps in the distance. Another truck engine rumbles to life 3 rows over. I walk up the passenger side, completing the loop. I check the passenger side trailer tires, the landing gear, the fuel tank, the mirrors. Everything is in order. The machine is sound. I climb back into the cab. I place the flashlight back in the bag. I sit in the driver's seat, the air suspension hissing as it adjusts to my weight. I close the door. The sound of the outside world is instantly muffled, replaced by the quiet sanctuary of the cockpit. It is time. I depress the clutch pedal. I turn the key from accessory to start. The starter motor whines, a high-pitched, energetic sound for exactly 2 seconds. Then combustion. The engine roars to life, a deep, guttural thunder that vibrates through the floor, through the seat, and into my spine. It is a feeling of immense power, contained and controlled. I watch the oil pressure gauge. The needle jumps up immediately, settling into the safe operating range. I watch the air pressure gauges. The needles are low, resting near 0. The truck's air tanks have bled down overnight. I need to build pressure before I can move. The brakes are locked by springs. Only air pressure can release them. I let the engine idle. The idle is a rhythmic, percussive chug. Chug, 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 chug. It is the heartbeat of the truck. I can feel it in the steering wheel. I turn on the heater. The fan whirs softly, blowing warm air onto the windshield and down into the footwell. I switch on the CB radio, just to have it ready. Static hisses quietly, followed by a distant voice skipping off the atmosphere, unintelligible but comforting. I reach for my thermos. I unscrew the lid and pour a small cup of coffee into the cap. I take a sip. It is hot, strong, and bitter. It tastes like the beginning of a journey. I sit back, watching the air pressure gauges climb. 60 pounds per square inch. 70, 80. At 100 pounds, the air dryer purges with a loud, sharp PSHHHT sound from underneath the truck. It is the signal that the system is full, clean, and dry. I am ready to roll, but I take one more minute. I look out over the hood, past the bulldog ornament, to the gate that leads to the highway. The sky is beginning to lighten in the east, a faint band of indigo bruising the black. I check my mirrors one last time. West Coast mirrors, convex mirrors, hood mirrors. I adjust the left one slightly, tilting it out to catch the edge of the trailer. I release the tractor parking brake, a yellow diamond-shaped knob on the dash. I push it in. Hiss. I release the trailer parking brake, a red octagonal knob. I push it in. Hiss. The truck shudders slightly as the brakes release their grip. I am no longer anchored. I depress the clutch. I move the gear stick into the low gear. It slides into the gate with a mechanical notch. I slowly let the clutch out. The friction point engages. The 18 wheels begin to turn. The gravel crunches. The Atlas moves forward, slow and inevitable. I steer toward the gate, the headlights sweeping across the fences. The day has begun. The work is in front of me, and everything is exactly as it should be. The air outside the cab is crisp, holding the specific, metallic chill of 4 in the morning. I step down from the aluminum running board, my boots finding purchase on the asphalt with a solid, gritty crunch. The world is dark, save for the amber glow of the parking lights and the harsh, white cone of my heavy-duty flashlight. Before the engine wakes up, before the wheels turn, there is the ritual, the pre-trip inspection. It is not just a requirement. It is a conversation with the machine. I hold the flashlight in my left hand, the beam cutting through the thin mist, hovering over the truck-stop pavement. The silence here is heavy, punctuated only by the distant hum of a refrigeration unit 3 lanes over. I begin at the front, the nose of the tractor. I release the hood latches, the rubber stretching tight before snapping free. With a firm grip, I tilt the hood forward. It swings open with a hydraulic sigh, revealing the sleeping heart of the beast. The engine block is a massive sculpture of iron and steel, smelling of oil and heat retained from yesterday's run. I check the fluids first. The dipstick slides out with a smooth rasp. I wipe it clean with a blue shop towel, reinsert it, and pull it again. The oil is black and viscous, sitting exactly at the full line. Perfect. I check the coolant reservoir, the translucent plastic glowing yellow under my light. The belt tension is next. I press my thumb against the serpentine belt. It offers the correct resistance, taut and ready to transfer power. No cracks, no frays. I close the hood, securing the latches with a satisfying snap. I move down the driver's side. My hand runs along the cold metal of the door, checking the mirror brackets. They are rigid, bolted tight against the vibration of the road. Now the tires. This is the percussion section of the morning symphony. I carry a wooden tire thumper, a weighted baton worn smooth by years of use. I strike the face of the steer tire. It responds with a sharp, resonant thwack. A dull thud would mean low pressure, a weakness in the foundation. But this sound is bright and tight. I check the tread depth, running a finger along the grooves. They are deep, aggressive, ready to channel away rain or grip the dry concrete. I check the rim for cracks and ensure the lug nuts are free of rust trails, which would indicate looseness. Everything is solid. I walk the length of the rig, the flashlight beam dancing over fuel tanks and airlines. I inspect the steps, the catwalk behind the cab, and the battery box. Then the most critical connection, the fifth wheel. This is where the tractor marries the trailer. I shine the light into the gap. The locking jaws are wrapped securely around the kingpin of the trailer. There is no daylight between the upper and lower coupler plates. The release arm is fully retracted. It is a mechanical handshake that must not fail, and seeing it locked brings a deep, quiet sense of security. I move to the trailer. The landing gear is raised, the handle stowed in its cradle. I check the side marker lights, the reflective tape running like a silver ribbon down the 53-foot length of the box. I thump the dual tires on the trailer axles. Thwack, 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 thwack. The rhythm is consistent. The mud flaps are hanging straight. Finally, the rear doors. The seals are intact, the hinges robust. I verify the license plate light is burning clean and white. The walk around is complete. The machine is healthy. I climb back into the cab, grabbing the chrome handle and pulling myself up 3 steps. The door closes with a heavy, airtight thud, sealing out the cold and the noise of the outside world. I settle into the driver's seat. It is an air ride suspension seat, and it greets my weight with a pneumatic hiss, adjusting to support my spine. The steering wheel is fast, the leather wrap cool under my palms. I insert the key. I turn it to the on position, but I do not start the engine yet. I wait. The dashboard comes alive. Needles sweep across gauges, oil pressure, water temperature, volatility, air pressure. A symphony of warning lights illuminates, and then extinguishes one by one as the system runs its self-diagnostics. The digital display boots up, washing the cabin in a soft, low-light green. I press the clutch pedal to the floor and turn the key fully. The starter motor whines, a high-pitched turbine sound, followed immediately by the deep, guttural roar of the 15-liter diesel engine catching fire. The cab vibrates, a gentle, rhythmic shudder that travels up through the floorboards and into the seat. It is a feeling of immense, contained power. I watch the oil pressure gauge rise steadily, while the engine warms, building the heat necessary for efficient combustion. I turn my attention to the air system. The truck breathes air. It uses it to brake, to shift, to suspend the cab. I watch the primary and secondary air pressure gauges. They climb slowly from 90 to 120 pounds per square inch. At exactly 120, I hear the distinct, sharp sneeze of the air dryer purging moisture from the system. PSHHHD. The tanks are full. We are ready. I reach for the 2 knobs on the dashboard, the yellow diamond for the tractor parking brake, and the red octagon for the trailer air supply. I push them in simultaneously. There is a long, rushing hiss as the air floods the brake chambers, releasing the heavy springs that hold the 40-ton vehicle in place. I slide the gear selector into drive. I check my mirrors, left, right, hood. The lot is still quiet. I ease my foot off the brake and gently press the accelerator. The truck does not leap, it gathers itself. There is a sense of massive weight shifting, of torque twisting through the drive shaft to the axles. The wheels turn. We are rolling. Navigating the truck stop lot is a slow ballet. I keep the engine rotations low, creeping forward at 5 miles per hour. The steering is heavy but precise. I guide the long nose of the truck around the tight corners of the fuel island, watching the trailer tires in my convex mirrors. They track perfectly, cutting the corner close, but never touching the curb. It is a game of geometry, estimating arcs and angles. I reach the exit and toggle the turn signal. It clicks with a slow, deliberate cadence. Click-clack, click-clack. The road is clear. I turn the wheel, guiding the beast onto the on-ramp. This is the transition. This is where the work becomes flow. The on-ramp is an uphill grade, demanding power. I press the throttle. The engine note deepens, a throaty growl rising in pitch. The turbocharger spools up, adding a high, whistling harmonic to the bass of the diesel. I feel the automated manual transmission shift. There is a momentary pause, a sensation of weightlessness. And then the next gear engages with a solid clunk, dropping the RPMs back down before they climb again. 20 miles per hour, 30, 40. I check the side mirror. A gap in the highway traffic approaches. I calculate the speed of the oncoming cars against my own acceleration. I have the space. I merge, drifting the truck smoothly into the right lane of the interstate. I am no longer an obstacle. I am part of the stream. 50 miles per hour, 60, 65. I set the cruise control. The engine settles into a steady, droning hum at 1,300 rotations per minute. This is the sweet spot, the point of maximum efficiency, where fuel burn is minimized and torque is maximized. The vibration in the steering wheel smooths out, becoming a constant, low-frequency buzz that travels up my arms. The cabin is my command center, my cockpit. To my right, the thermos of coffee sits securely in the cup holder, steam rising in a thin, twisting column. To my left, the window is cracked open just an inch, letting in a sliver of fresh air that smells of pine and damp earth. The dashboard lights are dim, just bright enough to read the gauges without ruining my night vision. The road stretches out ahead, a river of gray asphalt illuminated by the twin beams of my headlights. The white dashed lines are hypnotic. They appear under the nose of the hood and vanish beneath the wheels with a rhythmic reliability. Zip, 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 zip. My eyes are constantly moving, scanning a pattern drilled into me over 1,000,000 miles. Forward to the horizon. Check the left mirror. Check the right mirror. Check the gauges. Forward to the horizon. It is a loop, a mental radar sweep that never stops. In the left mirror, I see the lights of a sedan approaching fast. I hold my line, steady as a rock. The car passes, a blur of red taillights, and cuts back in front of me. I do not react. I simply monitor the following distance. I tap the button on the steering wheel to decrease my cruise speed by 1 mile per hour, opening the gap back up to a safe 7 seconds. Competence is not about aggressive maneuvering. It is about spacing, anticipation, and smoothness. The sun begins to hint at its arrival. The sky ahead turns a deep, bruised purple, then bleeds into a soft indigo. The silhouette of the tree line becomes sharper. Inside the cab, the darkness retreats, replaced by the gray light of dawn. I reach for my sunglasses, placing them on the dash, ready for the first strike of direct light. This is the flow state. The truck feels less like a machine I am operating, and more like an extension of my own body. I can feel the texture of the road through the seat. I know the incline of the hill before my eyes register it, because I hear the subtle change in the turbo pitch. I know the wind has picked up because I feel the slight resistance in the steering wheel. I reach for the CB radio microphone, the cord stretching like a telephone wire. I key the mic, the button clicking under my thumb. Radio check, I say, my voice low. Loud and clear, driver. A voice crackles back instantly. You're sounding good. Appreciate it. Keep the shiny side up. I hang the mic back on its magnetic clip. A brief connection in the void. The terrain begins to change as I leave the valley floor. The engine works harder now, pulling 80,000 pounds up a 3% grade. I watch the pyrometer, the gauge that measures exhaust gas temperature. It climbs slightly, indicating the engine is working, burning hotter. I keep an eye on it, ready to downshift if the heat gets too high. But the truck handles it with ease. We crest the hill, and the engine brake engages automatically on the way down. It makes a distinctive, stuttering sound, bap, 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 as the compression slows the descent without wearing down the service brakes. It is a satisfying sound, the sound of control. My hand reaches for the coffee mug. I take a sip without taking my eyes off the road. The liquid is hot, bitter, and grounding. I place the mug back. My movements are economical. No wasted energy. Every motion serves the forward momentum. The miles tick by on the odometer. The rhythm of the white lines speeds up slightly as the road flattens out. I am in the center of the lane, the hood ornament perfectly aligned with with the vanishing point of the highway. The world outside is waking up, but in here, in this high-backed seat, surrounded by 18 wheels and steel, the day has already found its groove. I check the navigation screen. 140 miles until the first scheduled stop. 2 hours and 10 minutes of uninterrupted asphalt. I settle deeper into the seat. I adjust the lumbar support. I verify my mirror angles one more time. The hum of the tires on the pavement is a white noise that clears the mind. It is a drone that sounds like progress. There is no phone ringing, no emails pinging. There is only the physics of motion, the management of momentum, and the steady, unwavering direction of the haul. I listen to the transmission shift again, moving into the highest overdrive gear. The RPMs drop to 1100. The engine is barely whispering now, just a low, confident rumble. The fuel economy gauge ticks upward. We are gliding. I watch a hawk circling above the median, hunting in the morning light. I watch the dew glistening on the grass. I watch the shadow of my own rig stretching long and thin against the embankment, a moving giant. This is the job. It is not just driving, it is piloting. It is monitoring 1,000 variables and making 1,000 micro adjustments to keep the line straight and the load safe. It is a solitary profession, but the coordination required between man, machine, and the road is a partnership as intimate as any I have known. The sun finally breaks the horizon, a blinding flare of gold. I slide my sunglasses on. The world snaps into high contrast. The road ahead is bright and open. I take a deep breath, smelling the coffee and the faint scent of diesel. The morning flow is established. The rhythm is set. The miles are waiting to be eaten, one by one, in a steady, unending feast of motion. I keep my hands at 10 and 2, my foot light on the pedal, and I drive. The asphalt ribbon of the interstate begins to blur into a hypnotic gray stream, a sign that my body is ready for the pause. The rhythm of the road has been steady for 5 hours, a continuous vibration traveling up through the floorboards and into the soles of my boots. I check the dashboard clock. It is time. My internal clock is synchronized with the engine, and we both require a moment of stasis. I spot the blue sign for the rest area 2 miles out. I flip the turn signal lever. The rhythmic clicking sound fills the cab, a metronome slowing the tempo of the day. I check the right mirror, the convex glass showing a clear lane, and I begin the slow drift toward the exit ramp. My foot lifts off the accelerator. The engine tone shifts immediately, dropping from a high, steady hum to a lower, throatier growl as the compression brake engages. This is the Jake brake, a deep, stuttering purr that holds back the 80,000 pounds of momentum I am carrying. I do not touch the service brakes yet. I let the physics of the machine do the work, converting forward energy into noise and heat. The speedometer needle sweeps counterclockwise. 50, 40, 30. I guide the rig onto the ramp. The suspension groans softly as the weight shifts to the left during the curve. I apply the air brakes now, a gentle hiss of pneumatics that squeezes the drums. The truck slows to a crawl as I enter the parking lot. It is a large lot, filled with the slumbering giants of the industry. I scan the rows, looking for a pull-through spot, but I see only back-in spaces available between two refrigerated trailers. That is fine. I prefer the precision of backing in. It requires focus. I pull past the empty slot, swinging the nose of the tractor wide to the left. I watch the trailer tires in my mirror, calculating the pivot point. I shift into reverse. The transmission clunks solidly into gear. This is a dance of angles. I turn the steering wheel to the right, pushing the rear of the trailer to the left. I watch the gap in the mirrors. Slowly, there is no rush here. The tires crunch over the gravel dust scattered on the pavement. I straighten the wheel, chasing the trailer back into the hole. The trailer sides align perfectly parallel with the white lines on the pavement. I ease back another 10 feet until the mud flaps are just shy of the concrete bumper stop. I push the yellow and red valves on the dashboard. The parking brakes engage with a definitive release of air. The truck settles on its suspension, a heavy metallic sigh. I turn the key, and the great diesel engine shudders once and falls silent. The silence that follows is thick. For a moment, my ears ring with the absence of the turbo whistle. I sit still, hands resting on the wheel, feeling the residual vibration fading from my fingertips. The transition from motion to stillness is a physical sensation, a decompression of the spine. I unbuckle. The belt retracts with a zip. I slide out of the captain's chair and move into the sleeper berth behind me. This is my domain, a compact capsule of efficiency. I draw the curtains across the windshield and side windows, shutting out the glare of the midday sun. The cab dims to a comfortable twilight. It is time to switch from driver to chef. I do not eat fast food. The nourishment of the body is as important as the maintenance of the engine. I open the small refrigerator tucked under the bunk. The seal breaks with a soft suction sound. A waft of cold air hits my knees. I retrieve a container of pre-marinated chicken breast and a bag of fresh green beans. I set up my workstation on the pull-out table. I plug in my electric skillet, a 12-volt appliance designed for this life. I turn the dial to medium-high. While the element heats, I take out my cutting board and a small, sharp paring knife. The preparation is ritualistic. I place the green beans on the board. Snip, snip, snip. I trim the ends with efficient, practiced motions. The sound of the knife against the wooden board is crisp and dry. I arrange the vegetables in a neat pile. I hover my hand over the skillet. It radiates a steady warmth. I pour a small circle of olive oil into the pan. It shimmers, spreading out to coat the nonstick surface. I place the chicken into the skillet. A loud, satisfying sizzle erupts immediately, filling the small space. The smell of garlic, lemon, and searing meat rises, masking the scent of diesel and upholstery. I use silicone tongs to adjust the meat, ensuring maximum contact with the heat. While the chicken cooks, I organize the cabin. A tidy cab is a tidy mind. I fold the blanket on the bunk, smoothing out the wrinkles with the flat of my hand. I wipe down the dashboard with a microfiber cloth, lifting the fine layer of dust that always accumulates near the vents. I move around the gearshift, polishing the chrome toggle switches until they gleam in the dim light. I turn back to the skillet. I flip the chicken. The second side hisses, slightly quieter than the first. I add the green beans to the pan, letting them blister in the hot oil. I sprinkle a pinch of coarse sea salt over them. The crystals bounce and settle. I place the glass lid on the skillet to trap the steam. I sit on the edge of the bunk, waiting. I can hear the gentle bubbling of moisture inside the pan. Outside, a truck rolls past, its engine a low drone that fades into the distance. I am in a bubble of domesticity in the middle of a concrete expanse. 5 minutes later, I turn the dial to off. The clicking of the cooling element begins. I plate the food onto a heavy ceramic dish. I do not use paper plates. The weight of real dishware matters. It grounds the meal. I sit in the passenger seat to eat. It creates a mental separation from the workspace of the driver's seat. I have a view out of the side window, through a small gap I left in the curtain. The meal is simple and hot. The chicken is tender. The beans have a perfect snap. I chew slowly, savoring the texture. I watch the world outside. A driver in the truck next to me is wiping his mirrors with a squeegee. A family in a station wagon walks their dog toward the grass strip. The sun is high and bright, baking the asphalt, shimmering in waves of heat off the hoods of the parked rigs. But in here, it is cool. The climate control hums a steady, white noise breeze. I finish the meal and wipe the plate clean with a piece of bread. Cleanup is immediate. I do not let tasks accumulate. I wipe the skillet with a paper towel while it is still warm, removing the oil before it sets. I spray a mist of vinegar and water on the cutting board and wipe it dry. Everything goes back into its designated latch, secured against the movement of the road. Now the lull deepens. I have 45 minutes remaining in my break. I recline the passenger seat. I do not sleep, but I rest my eyes. I let my muscles go slack. I consciously release the tension in my shoulders, the muscles that hold the steering wheel steady against the crosswinds. I relax my right leg, the one that governs the throttle. I listen to the ambient sounds of the truck stop. It is a mechanical symphony, the distinct crank of a starter motor, the clatter of a reefer unit, the refrigeration engine on a trailer, cycling on to keep its cargo cold, the hiss of air brakes releasing. These are the sounds of commerce, of a machine that never truly stops. I find them comforting. They mean the system is working. After 20 minutes of stillness, I sit up. My mind is clear. The fog of the morning drive has evaporated. It is time for the exterior inspection. I step down from the cab. The heat of the afternoon hits me. A dry, dusty wall of air. The ground is hard beneath my boots. I put on my leather work gloves. They are worn smooth at the palms, molded to the shape of my hands. I walk to the front of the truck. I lean in to inspect the grille. I check for any debris caught in the radiator fins. It is clear. I run my hand along the hood latch to ensure it is secure. I move to the steer tires. I crouch down. The rubber is hot to the touch. I look at the tread depth, checking for any uneven wear that might indicate an alignment issue. I inspect the lug nuts. I look for the rust trails that would suggest a loose nut. They are all clean and tight. I stand and retrieve my tire thumper from the side box. It is a weighted wooden baton, stained dark with oil and age. I walk down the length of the truck. Thud. I strike the outer drive tire. The sound is a sharp, resonant report. It tells me the air pressure is good. A low, dull sound would mean a leak. Thud. The inner tire resonates with the same pitch. I move to the trailer. I check the landing gear. The handle is folded and locked in its cradle. I check the side lights. The amber plastic covers are intact. Thud, thud. The trailer tires sing their response. I walk to the rear of the trailer. I check the door latch. The heavy steel bar is seated in the cam, and the padlock is secure. I give it a firm tug. It does not budge. I wipe the taillights with my glove, clearing a thin film of road grime to ensure they will shine bright when the sun sets. I circle back up the passenger side. I check the fuel tanks. I unscrew the cap on the diesel tank. I look inside, visually confirming the fuel level matches the gauge on the dash. The blue-green liquid swirls gently. I replace the cap, tightening it until it clicks. I check the lines connecting the tractor to the trailer. The glad hands, the coupling devices for the air hoses, are coupled tightly. I run my fingers over the rubber seals. They are supple, not cracked. The electrical pogo stick holds the green cable high and clear of the deck plate. The inspection is complete. The machine is sound. The load is secure. I climb back into the cab. The air conditioning feels profoundly cool after the heat of the tarmac. I strip off my gloves and stow them in the door pocket. I sit in the driver's seat. It welcomes me back. I adjust the air suspension in the seat, finding that perfect height where my knees are level with my hips. I check my logbook on the tablet mounted to the dash. I tap the screen to update my status. The digital interface confirms I have completed the required rest period. I take a moment to plan the next leg. I consult the atlas, tracing the red line of the interstate with my finger. The next 4 hours will be a climb. I will be ascending into the foothills. The terrain will change. The demands on the engine will increase. I visualize the route. I anticipate the gear changes. I reach for my water bottle and take a long drink. Hydration is key for focus. I screw the cap back on and place it in the cup holder. I slide the key into the ignition. I turn it to the on position. The dashboard lights up, a constellation of amber and red checks. The needles on the gauges sweep all the way to the right, then settle back to 0. The computer runs its diagnostics. I wait for the check engine light to extinguish. I press the clutch pedal to the floor. It is heavy, requiring a firm, deliberate push. I turn the key. The starter motor whines, a high-pitched torque, and then the engine catches. Vroom, rumble, rumble. The cab vibrates as the 6 cylinders wake up. The oil pressure gauge rises steadily to 60 pounds per square inch. The air pressure gauges climb, the compressor chugging rhythmically to refill the tanks I depleted during parking. I listen. I am listening for anything unusual. A belt squeal, a misfire, a rattle. There's nothing but the steady, powerful idle of a well-maintained diesel engine. It is a sound of capability. I release the tractor parking brake first. Phhh pop. I wait a second to let the tractor settle against the trailer brakes, testing the connection one last time. It holds. Then I push the red valve. Phhh pop. The trailer brakes release. The whole rig is now free. I shift into low gear. I check the left mirror. I check the right mirror. I signal my intention to leave the space. Slowly, I let out the clutch. The friction point engages. The truck shudders slightly as the torque transfers to the wheels. We begin to roll. I navigate the parking lot, moving at a walking pace. I weave through the rows of parked trucks, respecting the size of my vehicle. I yield to a driver walking toward the building with his shower bag. He nods. I lift 2 fingers from the steering wheel in return. A silent acknowledgement of the shared profession. I approach the on-ramp. The sign indicates the interstate is ahead. I check the traffic flow. The highway is a river of metal and rubber, and I am about to merge back into the current. My foot finds the throttle. The engine note rises. The turbocharger begins to whistle. A high, keen sound of building pressure. I shift. Second gear. Revs rise. Shift. Third gear. I am no longer resting. I am no longer a chef or a mechanic. I am a driver once more. The lull is over. The work resumes, and it feels good. The sun begins its slow, heavy descent toward the western horizon, painting the sky in bands of bruised purple and burnt orange. Inside the cab, the shift in light changes the atmosphere entirely. The glare on the windshield softens, fading into a clarity that makes the road ahead look crisp and inviting. I reach for the switch on the dashboard to engage the running lights. There is a solid, tactile click, and I know that outside, the amber marker lights along the roof, and the sides of the trailer have flickered to life, outlining my shape in the gathering dusk. This is the final stretch. The GPS indicates 40 miles to the distribution center. My body knows these miles. My shoulders have settled into a relaxed, permanent posture, melded with the high-backed seat. My hands rest lightly on the wheel, guiding rather than forcing. The 18 wheels beneath me are humming a consistent, low-frequency note, a drone that vibrates gently through the floorboards and into the soles of my boots. It is a comforting sensation, the feeling of a massive machine operating in perfect equilibrium. I check the gauges one more time. Oil pressure is steady at 45 pounds per square inch. Water temperature holds firm at 180 degrees. The voltage meter shows a healthy charge. Everything is green. Everything is working exactly as designed. The highway traffic has thinned out, leaving me with long stretches of open asphalt. I listen to the turbocharger whistle as I ease off the throttle to manage the grade of a long, gentle hill. The engine brake engages with a low, throaty rumble, holding the truck back, maintaining my speed without me ever needing to touch the brake pedal. It is a dance of momentum and friction, controlled entirely by the tips of my fingers and the soles of my feet. 10 miles out, I see the exit sign reflecting my headlights. I flip the turn signal stalk. The rhythmic ticking fills the cabin, a metronome counting down the final minutes of the haul. I check the right mirror, then the convex spot mirror. Clear. I guide the truck into the exit lane, feeling the shift in gravity as we bank onto the ramp. I downshift. The gear stick moves with a fluid, oiled precision. Range selector down. Splitter back. I find the gear effortlessly, the engine matching the revolutions per minute with a satisfying growl. The distribution center looms ahead, a sprawling grid of concrete and sodium vapor lights. It is an island of industry in the twilight. I roll down the driver's side window, letting in the cool evening air. It smells of damp earth and diesel, the perfume of the logistics world. I pull up to the guard shack. The brakes hiss as I come to a complete halt. I do not rush. I reach for my clipboard, the paperwork neatly organized, the bill of lading on top. I hand it to the guard, a man I recognize by face, if not by name. He nods, stamps the time in on the document, and hands it back. Door 42, he says. I acknowledge him with a wave and roll the window up, sealing the cabin once more. I release the parking brake. The air exhausts with a sharp PSHHHD, and we creep forward. Navigating the yard requires a different kind of focus. Here, the movements are slow, deliberate, and surgical. I weave through the rows of parked trailers, watching the numbers painted on the yellow lane markers. 38, 40, 42. The bay is open. I pull past it, swinging the tractor wide to the left, setting up the angle. I put the transmission into reverse. The backup alarm begins its steady, warning beep. I look into my left mirror, watching the rear of the 53-foot trailer begin its arc. This is the part I love most. It is geometry in motion. I turn the steering wheel to the right, pushing the tail of the trailer to the left. I watch the tires pivot. I aim for the narrow gap between two yellow lines, a space only slightly wider than the truck itself. Slowly, ideally, I want to do this in one smooth motion, without pulling forward to correct. I watch the trailer sidewall slide parallel to the dock seal in the mirror. I straighten the wheel. The tractor lines up with the trailer. We slide back, straight and true. I wait for the gentle thud that tells me the rubber bumpers on the dock have met the rear frame of the trailer. Contact. I set the tractor brakes. I set the trailer brakes. The two yellow and red knobs on the dash pop out with a definitive snap. I put the transmission in neutral. The driving is done. I open the door and climb down, my boots crunching on the gravel, grit of the docking bay. The air is cooler now. I walk to the back of the trailer, unlatch the swing doors, and secure them to the sides with the chain hooks. I verify the dock plate is engaging. I walk back to the landing gear crank handle. I grip the cold metal handle and begin to turn it. It offers resistance, then moves smoothly. I crank it down until the feet touch the concrete, taking the weight off the truck's suspension. I disconnect the glad hands, the air lines connecting the truck to the trailer. Red line first, then blue. I stow them in their holster behind the cab. I pull the fifth wheel release handle. It gives way with a metallic clank, unlocking the kingpin. Back in the cab, I pull forward a few feet, just enough to separate from the trailer, but leaving it parked at the dock for unloading. I listen. Behind me, I hear the electric whir of a forklift driving into the trailer. The cab rocks gently side to side as the weight is removed, pallet by pallet. This is my downtime. I pick up my logbook tablet. I change my status from driving to on duty, not driving. I review the day's graph. It is a clean, jagged line of blue blocks representing hours of perfect compliance. 11 hours of driving, 3 stops, 0 incidents. I feel a wave of professional satisfaction wash over me. I delivered the load safely, on time, and intact. 40 minutes pass. The forklift noise stops. The dock manager taps on my door and hands me the signed bill of lading. I scan it into the company system immediately, watching the progress bar fill up until it says upload complete. The job is finished. Now the transition begins. I drive the tractor away from the dock, heading toward the designated overnight parking area at the back of the lot. It feels strange to drive without the weight of the trailer behind me. The truck is bouncy, eager, unburdened. I find a spot in the back row, away from the floodlights, pointing the nose of the truck toward a line of trees that mark the edge of the property. I park. I set the brakes for the final time today. I let the engine idle for 5 minutes. This is crucial for the health of the turbocharger, allowing it to cool down gradually after the hard work of the day. I sit in the captain's chair, hands in my lap, listening to the diesel engine settle into its rhythmic, clattering ide. It is a heartbeat I have known for 20 years. While the engine cools, I begin the shutdown ritual. I turn off the CB radio. The static hiss vanishes. I turn off the GPS tablet. The screen goes black. I wipe down the steering wheel with a microfiber cloth, removing the oils from my hands. I trace the rim of the wheel, polishing the logo in the center. I wipe the dashboard, dusting off the instrument cluster, the gear shift knob, and the door handle. I like my workspace spotless. It resets the mind. 5 minutes are up. I turn the key to the off position. The engine shudders once and falls silent. The sudden quiet is profound. For the first time in 12 hours, there is no vibration. The world stops shaking. I can hear the wind rustling the leaves in the trees nearby. I can hear the ticking of the metal engine block as it contracts in the cooling air. I engage the privacy locks on the doors. I slide the heavy, pleated curtains around the windshield and side windows. They meet in the middle with a magnetic click, shutting out the sodium lights of the warehouse yard. The cab transforms instantly. It is no longer a workspace. It is a cocoon, a small, private studio apartment on wheels. I move from the driver's seat to the sleeper berth in the back. I stand up in the space between the seats. There is plenty of headroom here. I stretch my arms toward the ceiling, feeling my spine elongate, hearing a satisfying pop in my lower back. I rotate my neck, left then right, releasing the tension held in the muscles. I switch on the ambient lighting. It is a warm, soft amber glow, located near the floor, designed not to be harsh on tired eyes. I open the small refrigerator tucked under the bunk. The compressor hums quietly. I take out a bottle of water and a container of overnight oats I prepared this morning. I sit on the edge of the bed, eating slowly. The oats are cool and sweet. I drink the water, feeling it hydrate my system. I am not thinking about tomorrow's load. I am not thinking about traffic or weather or way stations. I am simply being. I am present in the safety of my cabin. After eating, I tidy up. I place the empty container in the trash bag, tie it off, and set it by the door to toss in the morning. I wipe the small fold-out table. I pull my wash bag from the overhead cabinet. I use a cleansing wipe to wash my face, scrubbing away the road grit and the fatigue. The cool moisture feels incredible. I dry off with a soft towel. I change out of my work clothes, the sturdy denim jeans and the flannel shirt, and fold them neatly, placing them in the locker. I put on a pair of soft, loose cotton shorts and a fresh t-shirt. The fabric feels light and airy against my skin. I turn down the bedding. I have a high-quality memory foam mattress back here, fitted with flannel sheets that I change every week. I fluff the pillows. I straighten the heavy quilt. I check the thermostat for the bunk heater. It is set to 68 degrees. Perfect. The auxiliary power unit under the bunk hums almost imperceptibly, maintaining the climate without the main engine running. It provides a steady white noise backdrop that I have come to associate with deep rest. I sit back on the bunk and plug my phone into the charger. I check the battery level, charging. I set my alarm for 7 hours from now. That gives me a full sleep cycle, plus time for coffee in the morning. I turn off the amber floor lights. Now it is truly dark. The darkness is velvety and absolute. I crawl under the quilt, pulling it up to my chin. The weight of the blanket is grounding. I stretch my legs out fully, my feet reaching the end of the mattress. My toes wiggle, enjoying the freedom from the heavy work boots. I sink into the memory foam, feeling it contour to support my hips and shoulders. I lay on my back for a moment, staring up into the darkness. I take a deep breath in through my nose, filling my lungs completely, holding it for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. I exhale slowly through my mouth, pushing out every last bit of air. With that breath, I release the highway. I release the white lines. I release the focus. I roll onto my side, tucking one arm under the pillow. The cabin is silent, save for the faint, rhythmic whir of the heater fan and the occasional distant sound of another truck passing on the highway miles away, a sound like the ocean, rising and falling. My body feels heavy, a pleasant heaviness born of good, honest work. My eyelids flutter and then stay closed. The tension in my jaw unspools. The muscles in my hands relax, fingers curling loosely. I am safe. I am parked. I am done. The darkness wraps around me, warm and familiar. My breathing slows, matching the imaginary rhythm of the road that still echoes faintly in my inner ear. The drift begins. It is a slow, spiraling descent into comfort. The world outside the curtains ceases to exist. There is only the warmth of the bunk, the hum of the air, and the peace of a job completed. I sleep